listeners. Welcome to our podcast, Soulful Growth to Success. And today we have an amazing guest with us, Irvan Brar, who is a national volleyball player, and he has been coaching and playing all across Europe. And he's also a golfer. So we're going to get a lot about discipline and also a little bit about spirituality. So I'm so excited for this episode, and I'm sure you'll get some insightful information. So let's head and talk to Irvan Brar. Hi, Irvan. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you, Prabhleen, for that lovely intro, actually.
Yeah. So how does this journey begin?
Oh, okay. I guess if we're gonna go back from the start, it's probably following my older brother. So we grew up in Hong Kong, spent a lot of years there. My first 5 years of my life was from Hong Kong. So if you believe it or not, the first language I spoke was Cantonese. But coming to Canada, I guess, not really having the same background as a lot of the kids and being able to speak English super well, I was trying to find other outlets to express myself. And one of the ways that my brother found was through sport. And he played volleyball when he had moved to Surrey. And I was like, I want to be like my older brother, So I started playing just to kind of follow in his footsteps. And then this is all the way back to grade 5. I'm 29 now. So I think I was 10 years old or even 9 years old or something when I started. Wow. But just one season led to the next. Started in, actually, we didn't even have a team. It was Eamon, my older brother, who had a team in grade 7, and there was a grade 6 team. And then I asked, I was like, hey, can we have a grade 5 team?
Yeah.
And they said, if you can find enough guys, then you guys can have a team. So we ended up making like the C team, you could call it. And I just found my 5 best buddies. And actually one of them I just saw the last night. And we got to, remember these kind of older times that we had. But me and my 5 best buddies started up a volleyball team. And then one season led to the next. I go play in high school, and I play some club volleyball that was organized there. There was a great teacher in our elementary school, Mr. Higashi, Japanese man, and he kind of helped breed volleyball to our younger generation there. And after playing a couple years of club volleyball and in high school, I was starting to get pretty good at it. But obviously I played like many other sports, as you can see with the golf now. Like you said,
that's amazing.
You can almost say I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I can't believe that volleyball wasn't as popular. I think it's not in Canada, and it's more in the other, even in India, it's popular nowadays, but it's not a sport that we all go for, like ice hockey, right? And we don't know that these other sports also exist, and you can explore them and be in a team, and like you were the one who started. So that's a great initiative. So how did that come along? Like bringing in a team, was it easy?
At the time, it was easy because we all like playing sports in the playground, right? You go play soccer, you play basketball, you play whatever. So everyone's playing every sport. So to get my guys like all together and on board, actually it wasn't easy because volleyball is seen as a girl sport. When they're like, oh, we want to play volleyball, that's a girl sport. Right. So that did take like a little bit of convincing. But after a while, like a lot of us played club volleyball together, and I eventually got my opportunity to go play in university for UBC, which was a really good school at the time, but had many years of not playing super well of volleyball. But now it's cool because, like you said, like you're picking other sports, right? You're going field hockey, ice hockey, basketball, whatever else. So now what I'm trying to do for our community here is actually just start up some clubs for the youth in Surrey, and just, help them get off the streets a little more, and we'll have a little more organized, sport for volleyball. So I think back when I was playing, there was three people of brown color playing in all of DC almost, and now I have a full team of 40 kids that are all Indian descent or just around the community. As you know, in Surrey here, there's quite a few of us now. It's good that we kind of create opportunities for these people to make sure that they can get into universities and school and stay off the streets really. So
exactly. And like you said, I want to go back to like when you came here, it was a cultural difference. And of course, we are a minority. And when we come as brown and what kind of racism, or did you face racism?
Yeah, probably more so earlier in school,
Okay.
But that kind of fizzled out as we kind of got into high school and more so. But actually, I faced a little more when I went and played my first season in Germany. Okay. So if we're fast forwarding a bit after my time at UBC, my first contract was to play in the Bundesliga, they call it. If you're a football fan, a soccer fan, they'd probably be like, oh, wow, Bundesliga, But it's a top 5 league in the world. And I was the first person of Indian descent to play in that league.
Wow, that's amazing.
For volleyball. And it was pretty special and amazing, but also like I did feel some racism. Like besides the city I was in, because people knew who I was from the volleyball team.
Okay.
When you go out to other cities, like I didn't get let into some restaurants and some bars, and and I'd get some snarky, remarks, but that all gives you tough skin. Like it's nothing our people haven't dealt with before, and many other races as well. Like racism is a thing all over the world, right? And I think just nowadays, our youth, I think that's why it's important to have people who have been through some of these things to talk to our youth, to show them that, hey, it's not about color, it's about what you do with the sport and how you carry yourself, right? And rather about the color of your skin, which I think if more people can understand that at a young age, then they really aren't seeing color nowadays, because there's so many different races all over the world now because of the globalization and being able to move a lot more freely.
Exactly. And also, this is what I love about Canada is like Canada is a pretty new country, and we welcome, all kinds of cultures and all kinds of religions here. And I find the beauty, in being here. And this is one of the best things, right? And the best opportunities that we get here too. And also, I want to ask you, like, what other challenges other than racism did you face in your career?
Honestly, it was, believe it or not, I know I may seem tall here, but I was the shortest guy on every team I've played on. At 6'2", being the shortest guy. So I did have to like almost puff my chest out a little bit and try to show that I belonged, right? And like that's a little more of an individual challenge, right? Of me being smaller, but that kind of gave me a chip on my shoulder. And I was able to like really, really find this fighting spirit within me. And a lot of those things that I did outside of the volleyball court actually helped bring that up, on the volleyball court with me. So I was also a pretty high jumper. I jumped as high as Vince Carter did in his prime. So I still do, I think. But those are types of things I just had to work hard and overcome to be able to compete in the sport and eventually play for the national team at 4 different times.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you suggest somebody like about discipline? Any ritual that you follow for our listeners who are listening?
Yeah. To be honest, I think the discipline part is very key. Like it's hard to be motivated all the time, but having discipline is good. I find having a routine is actually pretty key. So it doesn't need to be the same for everybody. I think everybody has their own ways of going about things. Like, some guys in the change room before games are like headphones on, very, very focused and very like dialed in, where other guys, kind of like myself, was a little more just playful. And like, I like to call it present, right? So obviously you do some visualization before you sit down, you meditate, you kind of get yourself in the zone and you kind of picture some of the things you're going to be doing in the game. And that typically manifested into what I actually did in the game, which is pretty cool. But I like to be present. And if I'm present and just looking at what I need to do in the next little while, then I'm a lot more aware of maybe my teammates' feelings before the game. I can sense someone's a little nervous, I can be like, hey, don't worry about it. Like we beat guys like this all the time, or just give them each individual what they need more so. But the discipline piece is like knowing that outside of the court and outside of volleyball, you're still taking care of yourself. And that doesn't just go with physical, how your physical well-being is, it goes with how you are doing mentally and spiritually as well, right? And I think spirituality helps with a lot of that, right? So I think just when I meditate, I kind of just get to hear my inner voice, and I kind of clapper. It's not as cloudy with all these other voices around. So that helps me figure out my true voice, and it helps me be present when I'm right before playing a game.
Yes, exactly. That was actually my next question was like, how does spirituality play a role in, in discipline and also getting motivated? Like you shared about meditation and being present. So do you meditate daily?
I used to meditate daily, like set aside time, like at least 10 minutes a day to go do that. But now I find that I'm able to meditate throughout my daily life and practice. Like you call it flow state, right? A lot of the time you hear athletes talk about flow state. And it's just when you're so hyper focused and so hyper attentive that all the other noise is drowned out, and it almost feels like you're not even controlling the wheel. Someone else is kind of doing it. And I think understanding that I play for something bigger than myself, like, that for spirituality, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, knowing that you're playing for something bigger allows you to play more freely, right? If you're just kind of playing to fill your own ego, which a lot of people do get stuck in, then it's a less fulfilling activity and less fulfilling time, I believe.
Yeah, like you said, it's making bigger impact, right? It's not only about you at the point, and especially when you're playing for your country. At that time, it is for your country, but it is for also the people you're going to inspire and make impact on, and the younger generation that are going to come and going to show up. You're gonna be their role model. So you kind of have that responsibility now to be like, okay, I've got to do it for myself, but also for the other people.
Yeah, from my community in the youth. That's exactly right, because like I played 6 years abroad. I did one in Germany, 3 in Denmark. I also played in Saudi and Bahrain. But my last year, I decided to go back to my Danish team and be a head coach of our women's professional team and assisting the men's team that I was playing for. So lots of different hats. But what I found out was I actually really enjoyed the process of sharing what I knew more and helping our team succeed in different ways other than just going up and hitting a ball, right? Like it started to feel a little transactional. Like I get paid to go over there and just kill balls, meaning like put the ball down in volleyball. And like I was starting to feel, not used, but it just wasn't as fulfilling because you're playing for yourself, right? You're playing for your salary. But now when I'm coaching, and whether it's the teams in Denmark or the youth over here, it's a much more fulfilling and rewarding time getting to see that something that you said impacted this kid greatly. Like I still remember the coaches I had from a young age, and those are so vivid in my head. So I'm like, wow, I get to go full circle moment and start to do this for everybody else now. That's why I decided not to play this year overseas in Europe, and I decided to stay local and coach a university here at Catalan University. So I'm sticking around and helping these guys trying to win, right? I still get to go and compete and get these guys their best opportunity at winning, because winning is fun, but it's not everything. It's about the process and what you learn on the way there. Yeah.
Exactly, like you said, it's when your skills are transferable and you're like, okay, I can teach exactly the same skills that I've learned, and also the spirituality that you're not only a coach, we're gonna teach them to just go and like you said, kick a ball, but it's also about going inside, like going and connecting. You're also teaching them to how to connect with themselves. And I feel like that's where a coach is complete, where you aligning all of these aspects and of spirituality and of, like you said, mental health. Like, what would you give a suggestion or tell our listeners about feeling like we talked about motivated? Like, how do you always stay motivated to go for this match?
I think it is hard. It is hard to stay motivated all the time. That's why I think I was saying that discipline is probably more important than motivation. But a way to kind of get yourself motivated is to do it for the person beside you. So when I looked at my team, I was a very brotherly figure. Like we're a really tight knit family a lot of the time on most of the teams I play on. And I think I do a really good job of connecting all of us and then realizing, hey, when I'm playing out there, I'm not just playing for myself, right? Like I'm playing for these guys around me, and the motivation can blossom. It's almost like I'm not a father yet, but people talk about you get superpowers when you have a kid, right? Because you're now playing for more than just yourself. You're playing for your family. And I think what I try and do on sports teams is make them my family, and it makes it a lot easier to try and compete.
Yeah. So it's like we also talked about is like, think of the other person, think of your family, your team, who is counting on you. So that is just amazing. So Irwan, I'm gonna wrap this up. So before that, I'd like the listeners to know about like where to find you. You coach these amazing teams, and you also a golfer. Would you also share a little bit about your golf before we end?
Yeah, for sure. So you can find me on Instagram. It's at Burrar. It's IBUBRAR. And that nickname came from when I was in Hong Kong a little bit, because my name is Irvan, but Ibu was a little nickname that people call me there, and my family calls me still to this day. But golfing is something so the same piece about, staying connected and finding your inner voice. I found that when I go golf now, and I found a new passion in golf, it's really, really like tickles my soul in a way. I find I really get zoned into what I'm doing, and it allows me to express myself like volleyball did, right? And I think some of the most important things to do in life is to follow your biggest passions, follow your highest excitement without any expectations. So I did that with volleyball, and it led me to some beautiful, beautiful opportunities and doors, and I'm so thankful and grateful for them. And I'm just almost in a way doing my part to make sure I have those doors open for people. But now I still need to take care of myself as well and listen to my soul. My soul is is wrapped around golf, and I find that I get to get into that flow state in golf and find a creative way to express a shot or whatever it is. And it's 5 hours you're out there playing, walking, getting to see the land of where you're living at, and it's a beautiful course, and you get to play this game. I feel really spiritually connected to golf in a weird way, and I'm trying not to have any expectations about it and just follow it as my high excitement. But I've played for 3 years, and yeah, it's funny talk about a handicap, but I've gone quite low for somebody who's been playing for 3 years. So I have been getting the feedback from friends and other people being like, oh, you're pretty good at this. You picked up pretty fast. And I'm like, those are some of the same comments I was hearing in volleyball as a younger kid. So it does feel good, right? And it does it almost tries to inflate your ego, but in a way, if you realize, hey, I am still doing this to make my soul happy and not to have this perception of, oh, this guy's a great athlete, then then you're doing it for the right reasons, right?
Yeah, that's the spirit of a sportsmanship, right? Any sport that you go into, you're taking the same skills of, like we said, a discipline and all of that, and self-motivation and also visualization. When you visualize yourself already winning, and I feel like you were even one step ahead of a lot of people, and not doubting yourself and then going right then and there. And also, what is your self-care ritual that you follow?
Self-care ritual? To be honest, I really enjoy sauna. I think going to sauna does a lot of good for people. The visualization piece, I have one more thing to share actually on that. They did a study of 2,000 people. They did brain scans on them, and they asked them to imagine a dog walking through a door, and they saw what parts of the brain lit up. Then they actually showed them a dog walking through that door.
Right.
And for this 2,000 people, it was equal across all. There's no change for when they imagine a dog walking through that door or actually seeing a dog walking through that door. Same parts of the brain lit up, same intensity, everything. So that visualization of actually seeing it happen before, your brain can't tell the difference that you're doing it or not. And that's why it's a lot easier to manifest into real life or even do it after because you've done it before. So I think that's a pretty important piece of that's also part of my self-care is I sit in my bed and I daydream a lot, right? And that daydreaming is almost a way of me allowing my passions to fulfill themselves.
Yes, exactly. I completely understand you because I teach visualization. I do ultra silver method. So I know how beneficial it can be, and see as also a sportsman and one who's a national champion also follows the footsteps of visualization. So that's just amazing, Irvan. And you were also coaching. So what age groups are you coaching right now?
I'm kind of doing it all. I'm doing kids from 14 to 18 for my youth volleyball here in Surrey. I did some beach stuff against Lino as well for the same age groups. And then now I'm doing university kids. So first year to fourth year, fifth year guys. So closer to the early 20s and late teens. But in Denmark, to be honest, the women's team I was coaching was all older than me. So I was coaching people into their 40s. And so it's to find a foothold with people that have lived a lot more experience than you was tough. But I just showed them that, hey, I'm here for you guys. I'm here to care. I'm here to facilitate what I can. I would start to do a 15-minute yoga session at the end of our practice just to make sure all their bodies are healthy and just cater to what everybody needed. So I'm coaching all age groups and coaching all people. So it is just about connecting with the sport and realizing that, hey, I do have a lot of experience with this and to trust my stuff, and that gives me confidence to be able to say what I truly think.
That's amazing. That's amazing, Irwan. So if you want your child to go in volleyball and you're looking into even golfing, you can definitely contact Irvan Brar. And his Instagram is at Burrar, IBUBRAR. So you can connect with him on Instagram and send him a message, and you can go into the coaching program with him. Thank you, Irvan, for coming today.
Thank you so much.
I'm so glad and so blessed that you have enlightened us on this topic, and it's just been great.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It was a beautiful time talking to you. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.